I will come to that very soon, but we're tracking some further updates, this time from Europe. We're now learning that hundreds of thousands of protesters have marched in Barcelona, Rome and Madrid as anti-Israel rallies are being conducted across Europe. The protests in almost every major Spanish city had been planned for weeks, while the protests in Rome followed widespread anger after the Israeli interception of the humanitarian aid flotilla that had set sail from Barcelona in a bid to break the blockade of the Palestinian territory. Now, Hamas has stated that it has accepted some elements of the plan laid out by Donald Trump. But of course, there are larger humanitarian concerns that even the United Nations has pointed out, highlighting the fact that there's a famine that is currently taking place in Gaza. People are starving. The death toll too has crossed 65,000. Now, Rome's police has stated that 250,000 people turned out on the streets, while organizers stated that 1 million attended for a second straight day of demonstrations in Italy. Remember, viewers, Italy has already seen more than 2 million people rally in a one-day general strike to support the Palestinians in Gaza. Meanwhile, in Spain, 100,000 people marched in Madrid and other 70,000 filled downtown Barcelona. Organizers of the Madrid march raised the attendance to 400,000, while in Barcelona there were 300,000 who are pegged to have taken part in these protests. Meanwhile, in London, nearly 500 people have been arrested during protests in support of action in Palestine. Demonstrations had taken place in Trafalgar Square.
There's this peace plan that we're meant to give blind faith to, and there's been a global summit flotilla, which was where 350 odd people were kidnapped and are now imprisoned in Israel, and they're undergoing the kind of treatment, getting a small taste for us, people like me, of what Palestinians have been put through in Gaza for not just 2 years, not just a decade, but since 1948.
Lo lamentable, sobre todo, es el papel de los gobiernos, incluso el gobierno español, que manda un barco para proteger y luego se retira. ¿Para qué coño va? No lo sé. Va, pues seguramente, como dentro de X años o X tiempo hay elecciones, habrá gente que le compre el mensaje y demás. Es una auténtica vergüenza.
It's important because it's the same heart, the same motivation that drives people like me to oppose anti-Semitism, to oppose discrimination against anybody, to oppose the discrimination, destruction of the Palestinian people. So one and the same set of motives. I'm against all anti-Semitism, I'm against all discrimination, and I'm against the injustice towards the Palestinians, which has led on to an apartheid regime, which has then descended into the depravity of genocide towards the Palestinians.
Still with us on the broadcast is Professor Rohan Gunaratna. Sir, coming back to what you had pointed out earlier, you had stated that Hamas has agreed to hand over administrative powers in Gaza to a technocratic Palestinian body. However, only once national consensus is achieved. Now, at the same time, their statement has excluded any reference to the proposed board of peace that Trump, in fact, put out earlier in the 20-point plan that he is set to lead and that Tony Blair is set to be a part of. So, in your assessment, is this then an attempt by Hamas to retain control behind the scenes while avoiding external oversight?
Hamas has issued a statement that I have reviewed, and now that is public, that they want to have a say in the national Palestinian framework, meaning they want to be a part of the governance process. This Netanyahu will not permit, this Trump will not permit, this no sensible government in the world will permit, because Hamas was behind the October 2023 terrorist attack that led to a devastating war. So any sensible government, any thinking leader will not permit Hamas participation. So this remains a very significant challenge that could even derail future negotiations. That is why it is so important for this peace process to continue with attention, with focus, and with foresight, so that there can be peace achieved in the Gaza Strip and for the Palestinian people.
Indeed, sir, and factoring in the 20-point plan, then in your assessment, what security framework would Israel consider sustainable in Gaza about a year from now, whether a buffer zone or an international force that was proposed?
As you said, Pia, they want to have an international security force, but if that force cannot be constituted, then of course IDF will maintain a very strong capability, in fact, within Gaza. So what is important is for there to be a force that is acceptable to Israel as well as for the Palestinians, and for Hamas not to play a role. Hamas is an extremist organization that is driven by its patrons and by its vicious ideology. So unless there is a greater understanding of Hamas wanting to maintain its relevance and also continue with its ideology, then there cannot be peace. One must understand for there to be peace, both Israel, Hamas, and other terrorist groups that are also active in Gaza, such as the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, all these groups will have to work together. So there cannot be peace in the short term. It's a very long, structured peace process that will eventually bring peace in Gaza and in the Middle East.
Indeed, sir, I request you to stay on with us. We're tracking some further updates from the Middle East. We're now learning that some 137